The Secret Life of a Brave Queen. Imagine a young orphan girl, hidden among the people of a foreign land, chosen by fate to become queen. She must keep her true heritage secret, a heritage that binds her to a people facing imminent destruction. But when a dark plot threatens her community, this queen will have to make a dangerous choice, one that could cost her life. This is the story of Queen Esther, an extraordinary woman of courage whose quiet strength and faith transformed the lives of thousands. Join us as we journey back to the heart of the ancient Persian Empire to discover how Esther's bravery turned the tide of history. Exile and royalty in ancient Persia. Our story begins in the vast Persian Empire, an expanse of incredible diversity and wealth, ruled by the formidable King Xerxes. Known for his immense power, King Xerxes held influence over lands from India to Ethiopia, making him one of the most powerful rulers of his time. Yet, this glorious kingdom had a hidden complexity. Among the diverse groups under Persian rule was a community living in exile, the Jewish people, far from their homeland and adjusting to life as foreigners. For these Jewish exiles, Persia could be both a place of opportunity and danger. Amidst this community lived a young woman named Esther in Persian. Orphaned at a young age, she was lovingly raised by her cousin, Mordecai, who taught her the faith and customs of her people. Esther's story begins as one of resilience and hope. Raised in a world that seemed hostile to her people, she had no idea that her life would take a dramatic and fateful turn. Known for her gentle beauty and wisdom, Esther's life changed when the royal court came calling. She would be thrust from her simple life into the grandiose yet perilous world of the Persian palace. The king's grand feast and Queen Vashti's rebellion, King Xerxes, had a taste for extravagance, and nowhere was this more evident than in his lavish banquets. In one particular celebration that stretched for 180 days, he spared no expense, showcasing his wealth and power to dignitaries and officials from across the empire. This grand affair culminated in a final spectacular feast. In his drunken pride, Xerxes summoned his queen, Vashti, to appear before the gathered guests, wishing to display her beauty as yet another symbol of his own grandeur. But Vashti refused to comply, a shocking act of defiance that sent waves of scandal through the royal court. Furious at this public embarrassment, Xerxes made a hasty and irreversible decision. Vashti was stripped of her title and banished from the palace. This pivotal event set into motion a search for a new queen, a search that would forever alter Esther's life. Vashti's fate highlights the constraints on women's autonomy in the ancient royal courts, where even queens had limited freedom and could be cast aside by the king's decree. Esther's journey into royalty. With Queen Vashti gone, the king's advisors proposed a grand search for a new queen. Across the vast empire, beautiful young women were sought to compete for the honor of becoming the next queen. Among these young women was Esther. Despite her humble beginnings and secret Jewish heritage, Esther's striking beauty and gentle demeanor set her apart. Mordecai, her wise cousin, urged her to conceal her Jewish identity, knowing that revealing it could put her in danger within the royal court. This secrecy would soon prove vital. For months, Esther underwent rigorous preparations under the watchful eyes of palace officials, including Hegai, the chief eunuch, who grew fond of her humility and grace. Her kindness and inner strength endeared her not only to Hegai, but eventually to the king himself. In time, Esther was crowned Queen of Persia. But even amidst the luxuries of royal life, She remained grounded, never forgetting her roots or her people. Little did she know that her hidden identity would soon be her greatest shield. Esther's journey to the palace teaches us about the power of humility and integrity. Her rise to royalty was not just due to her beauty, but her strength of character and wisdom. The rise of Haman and the threat to Esther's people. As Esther settled into her new role, a dark shadow emerged in the Persian court. Haman, an ambitious and powerful noble, quickly rose to become one of King Xerxes' closest advisors. Though influential, Haman was consumed by arrogance and prejudice. His ire was particularly drawn to Mordecai, who, in loyalty to his faith, refused to bow down to him. Enraged by this defiance, Haman's frustration twisted into a deadly vendetta, not only against Mordecai, but against all Jewish people in Persia. Haman devised a sinister plan. He manipulated Xerxes into issuing a royal decree, an irrevocable command, calling for the annihilation of all Jews in the empire. The date for this massacre was set, and Haman's heart filled with the hope of eradicating those he despised. Little did he know that Queen Esther herself was Jewish, or that his malicious plot would set in motion a confrontation that would expose his cruelty and injustice. Haman's actions show the devastating effects of unchecked power and prejudice. His plot serves as a reminder of how hatred can lead to destruction, targeting innocent communities. Mordecai's plea and Esther's impossible choice. When the horrifying news of Haman's decree reached the Jewish community, panic and grief swept through families who feared for their lives. For Mordecai, Esther's wise and devoted cousin, the weight of this impending disaster was overwhelming. In a display of public mourning, he donned sackcloth and ashes, walking through the streets with visible sorrow. This act of humility and grief captured the pain of an entire people facing annihilation, but Mordecai knew there was one glimmer of hope hidden within the palace walls. Queen Esther. He sent a message to her, urging her to act on behalf of her people, appealing to her position as the only one close enough to the king to potentially intervene. However, Esther's heart was torn, knowing the immense risk she faced. In Persia, anyone who approached the king without a summons, even the queen herself, could be sentenced to death. Esther's royal position, which should have offered protection, now came with limitations that made her life precarious. Approaching the king uninvited was not only a legal gamble, but a personal one. Her decision could expose her hidden Jewish identity, costing her status, security, and possibly her life. For Esther, this choice was heart-wrenching, and she hesitated, knowing the dangers involved. Mordecai's next words pierced through her fear. "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" He reminded her that her ascent to the throne might not be a coincidence, but a divine plan. His words resonated deeply, awakening Esther's sense of duty and purpose. In that moment, she realized that her status as queen was not merely a privilege, but a responsibility. She was in this place, at this time, not just for herself, but for her people. Responding to this call, she asked all Jews in the city to join her in 3 days of fasting and prayer, seeking collective strength and divine favor before she confronted the king. Finally, with unyielding courage, she declared the famous words, "If I perish, I perish." This statement became a powerful symbol of Esther's bravery and her willingness to risk everything for the sake of her people. Her courage did not lie in the absence of fear, but in her choice to face it head-on, trusting that her life's purpose might be to save others. This pivotal moment captured Esther's strength, resilience, and faith, becoming a testament to the impact one person's courage can have when they choose to stand up for justice, regardless of the cost. If I perish, I perish. This statement became a symbol of Esther's bravery, capturing her determination to sacrifice herself, if necessary, to save her people. Esther's bold approach and the banquet strategy. On the third day, adorned in her royal attire, Esther approached the king's court. Her heart pounded with each step, knowing the danger she faced. But Xerxes, seeing her grace and poise, extended his golden scepter, granting her the chance to speak. Instead of immediately revealing her request, Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet, a strategic move that would allow her to set the stage for her plea. At the first banquet, she still withheld her request, instead inviting them to a second feast. By delaying her revelation, Esther built suspense and intrigue, ensuring that her words would have the king's full attention at the right moment. Her patience and wisdom set the foundation for what would become a turning point in the story. Esther's restraint in revealing her request showcased her strategic mind, allowing her to control the narrative and timing of her plea. Esther unmasks Haman's treachery. Finally, at the second banquet, Esther summoned her courage and revealed her true identity as a Jew. She passionately pleaded for her life and the lives of her people, exposing Haman's plot to the stunned king. Xerxes, realizing the depth of Haman's betrayal, was filled with fury. In a poetic twist of fate, Haman was sentenced to be executed on the very gallows he had constructed for Mordecai. In one courageous moment, Esther had not only saved her people, but also unmasked Haman's treachery. Her bravery and wisdom had turned the tables, bringing justice and hope to the Jewish community. This climactic moment revealed the power of faith and righteousness. As Esther's courage dismantled the schemes of her enemies, Esther's bravery and wisdom brought justice, showing that even one voice, when backed by faith, can stand up to the mightiest powers. A joyous celebration of survival and faith. With Haman's downfall, Mordecai was elevated to a position of honor, and a new royal decree allowed the Jewish people to defend themselves. On the appointed day, they triumphed over their enemies, celebrating their survival and deliverance. To commemorate this miraculous victory, the Jewish people established the festival of a celebration of resilience, unity, and hope. Purim is still celebrated today with joy, feasting, and remembrance of the courage and faith that saved an entire community. Purim serves as a symbol of light prevailing over darkness, a festival that honors resilience, community, and faith in the face of adversity. The lasting legacy of Queen Esther's story is timeless, a reminder that one person's courage can indeed change the world. Her transformation, from an orphaned girl of humble origins to the Queen of Persia, and ultimately a hero for her people, stands as a testament to the power of faith, inner strength, and moral conviction. Esther didn't seek fame or glory, but when fate called upon her to act, she rose to the occasion, risking her life to confront a formidable ruler and an evil plot. Her quiet yet unbreakable resolve inspires us all to consider how we can make a difference, regardless of our background or circumstances. Esther's journey demonstrates that true bravery often requires more than physical strength. It demands a willingness to confront fears, to stand up for others, and to sacrifice personal safety for a higher cause. Her story resonates across cultures and generations as a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can find the strength to pursue justice and protect those we love. Esther's legacy continues to inspire individuals to embrace their own potential for greatness, encouraging each of us to believe that even the smallest actions, driven by faith and compassion, have the power to create ripples of change that echo through history. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Queen Esther. If her story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more legendary tales of courage, faith, and resilience.